that's the story of me now that I'm 30 years old. I just want to end this with a few notable mentions, things that I learned in my 20s. The first thing is you cannot run from yourself. This is so cliche and so silly to hear, maybe not, but you cannot run from yourself. Anybody out here that has heard the Cribs before, they have a song called Be Safe. Let me see. And in that song is pretty much just like a poem that he is reading. So this is the Cribs, Be Safe. I definitely recommend listening to the song, like the whole song. I'm just gonna read like paragraph. One of those fucking awful black days when nothing is pleasing and everything that happens is an excuse for anger, an outlet for emotions stockpiled, an arsenal and armor. These are the days when I hate the world, hate the rich, hate the happy, hate the complacent, the TV watchers, the beer drinkers, the satisfied ones. Because I know I can be all of those little hateful things, and then I hate myself for realizing that. There is no preventative, directive, or safe approach to living. We each know our own fate. We know from our youth how to be treated, how we will be received, and how we shall end. These things don't change. You can change your clothes, change your hairstyles, your friends, cities, continents, but sooner or later your own self will always catch up to you. Always it waits in the wings. This song was my favorite song around my early 20s because I resonated so daily with the lyrics. The biggest thing that I learned through my 20s is you cannot run from yourself. And whatever that means to confront yourself, for you, do that. So long as you're not hurting anybody, it's fine. For me, confronting myself, it meant me spending years setting that confrontation aside so that I could put things under my belt to help me be able to confront myself. And a lot of that was, it was art. It was art. It was like drawing, painting, making music. Poetry was a huge one, writing short stories. These were the things that I did for years before I was able to confront myself. And confronting myself meant looking at those things I was creating and then catching myself in feelings and then asking myself why I feel certain things. Number 2 is the people you surround yourself with it's so important because you are that. You are them. You know, we hang out with specific people for very specific reasons, and I think it's important to surround yourself with people that align with the kind of person you want to be. It wasn't until I started at the studio that I work at that I felt like I really started shifting like my personality type in, I think, a really good way. My coworkers, they're such good people. They're such good people. And there's a girl there that we ended up becoming good friends, and she's such an incredible person. And then sometimes I'll catch myself saying, oh, what would she do in this situation? Because there's like these parts of her that I admire so much, and I want to be like that. She's so creative. And then I have another friend that I ended up making there that no longer works there, but she's also just so talented and so creative and such a great person, such an optimistic, like genuinely happy person. I started hanging around people that are just like genuinely happy and creative and just beautiful inside and out. But I think the people you surround yourself with are they're so important, and they're a good reflection of you. So if you ever curious of what kind of person you are, look at the people you hang around. And then to kind of like seep into the third thing I think that is really important, and it's like a 2.5, is you are what you surround yourself with. Everything I have around me is a reflection of my brain. So what's going on in here. When I first moved out here, I think this was when I learned that. This is like around the time that I learned that, because it hit me when I was painting. One day I was like, why don't I just like set up a designated area so that I can just have my paints ready? And then whenever I'd come home from activities or work or whatever, the first thing I would see is my instruments on the walls, or my keys, or my paint stuff. Like, these things were a reflection of where I was at that point in my life, and that was just create. And like the ease of access to these things just made me want to do it more, and I gave myself that ease of access. So I surrounded myself with the things that made me happy, and I think they were a direct reflection of where I was mentally at the time, and even now. everything I have around me now, even though it is like a mesh of mine and Lou's things, it's still a reflection of, I can see from my perspective how it's a reflection of my head, and how in some ways things can be a reflection of his head. So I think the things that you surround yourself with are very important, very detrimental to you, and a reflection of you and who you are and like where you are mentally. The fourth thing that I have learned that in my opinion is very important from my 20s is, this one might sound a little like, oh, kind of boring, it's not as profound. Build up a 401k or some kind of savings if you can. I know it is so hard right now, believe me, I'm experiencing it right now with everybody else. I don't make $1 million a month, but if you are able to like at least think about that, think about how you can have some kind of savings. There are emergency situations where you need to have a savings, and in my 20s I've had a few things happen where I've had to blow through my savings so that I could financially take care of certain things. And I wish I would have like opened a savings and had like a 401k or something in my early 20s. It would have been very helpful to have that now, but better late than never. I'm glad I discovered it now. Anybody who's in their 20s right now, or even like late teens, like it's never too early to start considering that kind of stuff. Like you hear it all the time from the adults in your life, how important it is, but like it's actually really important stuff. So I'm including that in this list. I didn't start thinking about this kind of stuff until I was 29. The fifth thing is, it might be hard to access this, but if you can, travel. Travel doesn't have to be some grandiose thing where you leave the country or something. It could be just like exploring. Like go explore your city. Go for a walk at a new park, or try a new restaurant or coffee shop or bubble tea shop, or you know, just try something new. I feel like in your 20s, like I think that's the most optimal time, because you are still young and your metabolism still works fairly well. And you know, you're agile, you have a lot more energy, and not to like roll over, but like whenever you hit your 30s, like I definitely felt it in my body whenever I was like pushing up to 30. And that's not to say you can't be healthy and like move around and do all that stuff in your 30s. You definitely can, but I think if you're able to do it in your 20s, it's also for like your brain. Like going to a new city and not knowing anything about it, and then like even just like looking up, like the first thing I would look up was like, okay, what's like a concert or something? Okay, so that means that, reflecting on it at this point in my life, I think I'm really into music. Or you know, it can help you learn a bit about yourself and where you are in your life, and like it'll help you learn about yourself and like the things you're interested in. And seeping into the next thing, go out and do the things you love. We carve out time for the things that are most important to us. Nothing is so serious that you need to ignore the things that you should be doing for yourself. If you have a roof over your head, you have food, and you have a good support system, or you know, even like growing up, I didn't have a good support system, but even in my youth, like my childhood, I would still find things to do for myself, for my own sanities. And that could be any capacity. That could be 5 minutes, even 2 minutes of just like breathing, or like going on a 2-minute walk, or even just standing outside for a little bit and getting some fresh air. I think it's really important for us in our personal development to be able to carve out some amount of time for ourselves and be with ourselves for even a minute. And the last thing I want to say is express gratitude. I think gratitude in everyday experiences goes such a long way. I mentioned how the past 3-ish years I was just like blurring out through life because I was going through like a lot of internal work from the time that I was just running away from myself. A lot of that work I put in was me just saying, I'm grateful for this, this, or this, or this is the thing that I love about today, or stopped using certain words and started saying, I'm grateful. Like if I was upset about something, like let's say I'm upset because we don't have a lot of food in the fridge. Very real. I think we've all experienced this in this economy. I would still say I'm so grateful that we have something. Like we still have something. I'm grateful that I'm able to get a cup of coffee. I'm grateful to have fresh, clean water. I'm grateful to be able to write in my journal. I'm grateful to have access to the internet, which is unlimited knowledge. I'm grateful for the air that I breathe. I'm grateful to be able to see the world. I'm grateful to be able to step outside. I'm grateful to have a roof over my head. I'm grateful to have somebody that loves me, and I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for existing now. I'm grateful for all of the people that I've had such a pleasure of encountering. I'm grateful for life and being able to be here now with all of you and the people in my actual life. Like, there's no amount of gratitude that you can't express. Gratitude can be found everywhere. I think something very important that you could do for yourself in your 20s that will definitely seep into your 30s is expressing gratitude. Just like using these more affirmative words over, or like using like negative words like hate, like, oh wow, good for you, like sarcasm and like self-deprecating humor. If it's your thing, whatever, but I personally don't want any of that. I feel like there's a couple more things that I wanted to add to this list that are in the original video that I made of like mourning my 20s. I'll just put them in the description, like if anyone's curious, because I can't remember off the top of my head and I don't have the footage on my laptop. I don't know where that footage is. That's it. This was a very long video. I feel like I'm reconnecting with myself, and I feel like it's this whole new chapter of me that I'm experiencing in real time, and I'm so grateful and I'm so blessed to be here and to be able to talk to all of you and to my camera. And I love the life that I have been given. And yeah, okay, well, thank you again so much for watching. If you made it to the end, I would love to hear anybody who has any experiences. Like, if you're in your 20s now, is there anything that you feel like I should have added to this list? If you are outside your 20s, is there anything you feel like I should have added to this list, or what would you add? I would love to hear from all of you. And you know, if anybody has any experiences from their 20s that they want to share, I'd love to hear it. I have a lot of crazy stories from my 20s that I will be making videos of, because I have had people in a few other videos tell me that they like when I do the sit down talk videos, but like the big brain talk videos. So I'll be posting some videos like that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time, and if not, tell me why. Tell me why, or don't. I hope y'all have a great evening, and I hope everyone has a great start and end to 2026. See you guys later. Bye.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.